Hello, my friend. Welcome to our channel, Moon Sleep Stories. Tonight, we drift into a landscape of golden light, where every surface glimmers like polished honey, and the air itself seems to hum with warmth. You are here, in this moment, carried by the quiet glow that wraps the horizon. The scene unfolds in present tense, so you feel yourself standing within it, not apart from it. The ground is soft beneath your feet, a gentle hush in the distance like waves against sand. And you probably won't survive this, by which I mean your stubborn urge to stay awake doesn't stand a chance. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know where you are tuning in from and what time it is where you are, because I love seeing how this golden light travels across the globe. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The air around you is touched with amber tones, like a room lit only by late sun and candle flame. The color quiets your mind as you breathe slowly, chest rising and falling with rhythm. Each exhale loosens the shoulders. Each inhale draws in calm. You notice how light clings to the leaves nearby, turning them into little lanterns. Even shadows have a softness to them, as if the edges of the world have been sanded smooth. You begin to walk, step by step, across a path that glows faintly, as if dusted with gold. The sound beneath your feet is muted, comforting. A part of you thinks of ancient civilizations, how the Egyptians adored the color gold, how it was more than decoration, a symbol of eternity. They believe golden hues connected earth to the divine, a shimmer that never tarnished. It's said pharaohs were buried with golden masks, not only to honor them, but to help guide their souls to eternity. Historians still argue whether those gleaming surfaces were more practical than spiritual, reflecting harsh desert light, or whether they were meant entirely as sacred beacons. Either way, the thought settles around you, history blending with the quiet glow. A breeze moves past, not cold, just carrying the faint scent of warmed earth and wildflowers. You close your eyes, and it feels like the air itself is brushing against your skin, reminding you that you are alive, here, drifting. You are safe. You think of quirky details, too. Did you know that in medieval Europe, people once believed that drinking molten gold mixed with crushed emeralds could cure the plague? Not the brightest idea, unless your idea of a cure involves sudden, shiny disaster. Yet the belief persisted, because humans cling to light in times of darkness, even if it means swallowing metal. You smile a little at the absurdity, then let it fade, your body softening deeper into the moment. The path widens and leads you toward a clearing, where the golden light pools like liquid. Each blade of grass is painted in honey tones. A single bird lifts into the sky, wings catching the glow so brightly it almost looks aflame. The world slows, every detail stretching into calm. A memory flickers across your mind. Perhaps a summer afternoon from years ago, when the sun dipped low and every corner of your childhood room was soaked in gold. You remember sitting there, maybe with a book, maybe just daydreaming, and how the light felt like company. That memory folds neatly into this present moment, like time is less a straight line and more a soft circle. You continue breathing easily, letting each step carry you further from the clutter of your day. The golden horizon is patient. It doesn't rush you, doesn't demand anything. It only glows. You feel how your heart slows to match it. You notice how your thoughts begin to drift, less sharp, more like watercolor edges. You pause to sit down on a smooth stone warmed by light. The surface feels steady, grounding. You rest your palms there and imagine the stone has been here for centuries, watching the cycle of day and night, carrying stories in its silence. Perhaps ancient travelers once stopped here too, their shadows stretching long as the sun lowered. Perhaps you are part of a pattern older than you know. You breathe in, steady and calm. You breathe out, softer now, as if the exhale itself melts into the golden air. Everything is okay. The hush deepens, and you lean back slightly, gazing up. The sky above is not harsh or blinding. It is a canvas of molten amber, brushed with delicate streaks of orange and rose. The sight reminds you of paintings by Turner, the English painter who captured sunsets as if they were alive. Some critics of his time mocked the blur of his work, saying it looked like unfinished haze. Yet today, people admire him for grasping what words could not, the glow, the blur, the living radiance of light itself. Historians still argue whether Turner was ahead of his time or simply reckless with detail. But as you sit here, in your own living Turner canvas, none of that matters. You feel your eyelids soften. Not close fully, not yet, but hovering there, heavy and easy. Your shoulders sink as though the golden light itself is pressing down, gentle but firm, reminding you to let go. The world hums quietly around you, and with every passing moment, sleep draws closer, patient as the horizon. The golden air thickens as you linger on the stone, almost syrupy in its calm. You rise again, legs moving with slow rhythm, as though guided by some unseen current. Each step feels lighter than the last, your body surrendering tension it once clung to. You wander deeper into the landscape, where fields of tall grass ripple in waves of amber. The sun, though sinking, seems eternal here, stretching every moment into a tender pause. You notice how the golden glow brushes your skin. It is neither hot nor heavy, more like being wrapped in silk warmed on a hearth. You tilt your head and see distant hills painted in honey and copper. They remind you of autumn afternoons, when the air carried a crisp edge and every tree was aflame with leaves. Time slows to match your breath. It is curious how the human mind often ties memory to light. The philosopher Aristotle once wrote about light as both physical and symbolic, a bridge between the senses and the soul. Historians still argue whether his musings were scientific observation or early spiritual poetry. But standing here, you realize it doesn't matter. The golden light is both fact and feeling, something you see and something you feel in your chest. A hush of wind brushes the grass, releasing the scent of clover and earth. The fragrance is grounding, anchoring you deeper. You recall how in ancient Rome citizens built solariums, rooms designed purely to soak in sunlight. Some used bronze mirrors to capture and reflect the glow onto their bodies, convinced that bathing in light would restore health. And honestly, they might have been onto something. Modern studies show that golden hour light triggers the body to produce melatonin, that gentle hormone that lulls you towards sleep. You let this knowledge settle, smiling at the idea that you and a Roman senator share the same craving for light. The ground dips and leads you to a stream. Its waters catch the amber sky and scatter it in flickers. Sex liquid glass. You kneel and dip your fingers, feeling coolness slip between them, tinged with the warmth of reflection. For a fleeting second, you imagine the stream as a ribbon of time itself, carrying centuries within its shimmer. You whisper a thank you to it, not because it demands one, but because gratitude rises naturally in quiet moments like this. You are safe here. Moving again, you follow the stream as it curves lazily through the meadow. Overhead, birds call softly, their wings etched in glowing outlines as they return to hidden nests. The sound is faint, almost like laughter from another room, comforting, never intrusive. You think of a quirky fact. During the French Renaissance, nobles believed sunbeams themselves could be trapped. They hung glass flasks in windows, convinced that golden light poured inside and stayed there, like wine. Later, they would sip herbs steeped in that bottled glow, convinced it granted vitality. A strange practice, yes, but charming in its optimism. The idea that light could be swallowed, carried, and lived within. As you drift now, you wonder if perhaps they were right in a symbolic way. Each breath you take feels like drinking in the horizon. The stream widens, and you see a bridge ahead, wooden, worn, but glowing as if polished by centuries of sunsets. You step onto it, and the boards creak gently beneath your weight, not protesting, just acknowledging. From this height, you pause to look back at where you've walked. The field behind you glows like a tapestry of amber threads, woven so tightly it seems alive. You lean against the railing, your elbows soft, your body folding into stillness. The world hums with a quiet lull. This is the moment where distraction would normally creep in. Reminders of lists, worries, unfinished words. But the golden light has a peculiar effect. It blunts the sharpness of thought, turning every worry into soft blur. You try to cling to one for a moment, just as a test, but it slips like water through your fingers. The glow wins. You recall another fragment of history. In Japan, the concept of komorebi describes sunlight filtering through leaves. Poets wrote that those scattered rays carried whispers of the divine. Historians still argue whether such language was purely metaphor or evidence of a deeper belief system. Sex, but the word itself remains a comfort. Komorebi, golden light broken into pieces, yet somehow more beautiful for being scattered. You see it here too, shards of glow dancing between branches, brushing your face. You close your eyes for a moment. The bridge holds you. The air hushes around you. You hear the soft thrum of water below. Your chest rises, falls, rises again. And when you open your eyes, you notice the horizon itself leaning closer, as though the golden light has moved to greet you. Shadows stretch longer, but they carry no menace, only rest. You realize that the journey isn't about moving forward quickly. It is about letting each pause expand, giving space for sleep to arrive. You take another step, crossing the bridge, letting your hand glide along the railing as though tracing time itself. On the other side, a grove waits, trees glowing at the edges as if dipped in firelight. You feel drawn to it, a quiet invitation. Drift a little deeper. The grove surrounds you now. Trunks rise tall, bark lined with shadows, crowns burning with golden edges. The air inside is cooler, a balance to the warmth. Leaves drift down, spiraling in slow motion, each one catching a glint before it lands softly on the earth. It feels like walking through an hourglass turned sideways, time falling all around you. You keep walking, steady, calm. Every sound is softened, every thought is lighter. And as the light filters through branches, you feel the weight of sleep pressing gently at the corners of your mind, patient, unwavering.
The grove thickens as you move deeper, the trees forming a cathedral of golden branches. Light slips between the trunks like streams of honey, draping itself across your shoulders. You slow your steps, each one careful and unhurried, as though you are tracing a dream already half remembered. The hush inside this place feels deliberate, designed for rest. Even the air seems to exhale with you, matching your rhythm. The path beneath you narrows, curling like a ribbon through the trees. You notice small details, the pattern of leaves crushed softly into the earth, the faint glimmer of dew catching the last warmth of light, the way your own shadow stretches ahead, long, calm, almost separate from you. For a fleeting moment, you wonder whether shadows dream too, whether they wander in some golden world parallel to yours. You pause, kneeling against the trunk of a tree. Its bark is cool, grounding, steady. You run your fingers across the ridges, each groove carved by years you cannot measure. The tree has stood here while generations passed. People once believed trees were guardians of memory, recording every whisper that brushed against their bark. Historians still argue whether the Druids of ancient Britain truly worshipped oak groves, or whether later writers embellished the myth, but either way, the thought lingers. These trees hold stories, even if they never speak them. Your breath deepens. The golden air flows in, then out, like a tide. You are safe to let go. A curious thought drifts in. During the Renaissance, alchemists believed they could transform ordinary metals into gold. But beyond wealth, they chased another prize, a mystical light called the philosopher's glow. They claimed it was the essence of purity, able to heal wounds, calm storms, even grant eternal life. Most of their recipes ended in smoke, but you can't help smiling at their persistence. Imagine spending decades stirring powders just to end up with glittery ash. Yet, here you are, standing in the real philosopher's glue. Golden light without formulas, pure and free. The path bends again, and you find yourself beside a pond. Its surface mirrors the trees, each reflection doubled in shimmering amber. You kneel at the edge, watching ripples expand in circles when a leaf drifts down to kiss the water. The sound is so faint, it is almost a whisper. You dip your hand into the pond, and the coolness travels up your arm, balancing the warmth of the air. You close your eyes for a moment. Behind your eyelids, the golden glow still lingers, imprinted like a memory you cannot erase. You realize how light works this way. It burns itself into your vision, into your memory, into your body's rhythm. The golden hour is never just a time of day. It is a feeling that outlasts the clock. You rise and keep moving, steps softer now, as though your body weighs less. The pond falls behind, and the forest opens into a wide meadow. Here, the golden light is overwhelming, pouring across every blade of grass. It feels almost theatrical, like a stage designed only for you. In the distance, you spot a structure, a circle of stones rising from the earth. You walk toward it, curiosity blooming gently. Each stone is tall, weathered, glowing at the edges with light. You think of Stonehenge, the way people across centuries stood before those monoliths and wondered. Historians still argue whether it was a temple, a calendar, or a meeting place for rituals lost to time. Standing in your own glowing circle, you feel the same curiosity, the same awe. These stones hum with presence, even if they remain silent. You step between them, and suddenly the world hushes even deeper. Inside the circle, the air feels denser, as if layered with memory. You place your palm against one stone and imagine the hands that touched it before you. Farmers, wanderers, dreamers, each one carried their worries here and left them behind. You feel your own worries soften, as though the stone is absorbing them, grinding them down into dust, scattering them into the soil. Release everything. You stand still, letting your shoulders drop lower, your spine unwind, your jaw unclench. It feels almost ceremonial, this act of surrender. You take one deep breath in and exhale slowly, as though pouring your burdens directly into the air. The golden light catches them, dissolves them, and returns to you only warmth. You notice a smile playing at your lips, maybe from relief, maybe from the odd thought that if historians argue forever about the purpose of stone circles, maybe the real answer is this: places made simply for letting go. A breeze threads through the meadow, carrying faint notes of something floral. You follow it step by step, and notice the sky overhead beginning to shift. The golden glow deepens into richer hues, molten amber sliding into soft rose, then into the purple promise of night. But the glow itself does not vanish. It lingers, clinging to every surface, reluctant to leave. You keep walking, and as you do, your eyelids grow heavier, your steps slow, not out of fatigue, but out of surrender. The meadow is wide, endless, yet you do not feel lost. You feel held, as though the golden light itself has taken your hand. The first stars blink faintly overhead, shy and patient, but you barely notice because the glow below is still enough to hold you. You realize that you don't need the sun anymore. The golden light has already made its home inside you. Drift a little deeper now. The meadow grows quiet, the air cooler, your body softer. Each thought dissolves, leaving only stillness. Each breath feels slower, carrying you toward rest. And as you walk, you realize you are no longer wandering outward. You are moving inward, into the quiet core of yourself, where golden light never fades. The meadow narrows into a winding trail, carrying you toward rising hills that glow like embers. Each step feels easier now, as though the earth itself supports you, lifting you forward without effort. The horizon burns with molten amber, but the fire is not fierce. It is tender, hushed, steady. You tilt your head, watching the last rays soften into ribbons that weave between hilltops, draping the land like golden fabric. The air cools slightly, balancing the warmth, wrapping you in comfort. You breathe deeply, and every inhale feels like silk sliding down your throat. You let it linger, then sigh out with ease. You sense how your body has shifted, your shoulders loose, your mind less sharp, your eyelids tugged downward. At the crest of a hill, you stop to take in the view. The world below stretches in gentle folds of gold, green, and shadow. A flock of birds drifts overhead, wings flashing in the fading glow. Their V-shaped pattern reminds you of ancient travelers, of how humans once navigated by following stars and bird migrations. Historians still argue whether Polynesian sailors relied more on starlight or on the flight paths of birds when crossing vast oceans. You smile at the thought. Either way, It was golden light at dawn and dusk that gave them rhythm, keeping them steady across endless seas. You descend slowly, your feet brushing against grasses that whisper in the breeze. A cluster of stones marks the trail, each one coated in moss that glitters faintly under the low sun. You crouch and run a hand across one stone, surprised by its warmth. It feels as though the golden light has seeped deep into the rock, storing itself there for anyone who pauses long enough to notice. Your mind drifts to a quirky bit of history. In the 16th century, physicians sometimes prescribed powdered gold mixed into drinks as a cure for melancholy. Of course, it probably did more damage than healing, but the idea is almost endearing. People wanted light inside them so badly, they tried to drink it. You smile, knowing you found a gentler way, simply breathing in the glow around you. No side effects, except calm. You are safe to rest. The trail bends again, leading into a valley where a river winds lazily. Its surface reflects the sky in streaks of pink and amber. You follow the bank, the water murmuring in low tones, like an old friend telling you stories half in words, half in silence. You notice how every ripple catches light, scattering it into sparks. It feels less like water and more like 1,000 tiny lanterns floating downstream. A memory rises uninvited, perhaps a summer evening from childhood, when you stood by a lake just before nightfall. Fireflies flickered around you, each one a dot of golden light. You remember the hush of frogs calling in the reeds, the gentle smell of water cooling. That memory folds seamlessly into this golden valley, like it was waiting all along. You lift your gaze and see ruins on a nearby hill, arches of stone, worn and fractured, but still catching the glow. You wander toward them, each step deliberate. Standing beneath the arch, you place your palm against the ancient wall. It is rough, scarred by centuries, but warm in patches where the light lingers. Historians still argue whether ruins like these, scattered across landscapes, were temples, homes, or simply outposts abandoned to time. To you, they feel like reminders that nothing lasts forever, except maybe the glow that softens everything. You exhale slowly, realizing how even broken edges can look gentle in golden light. You lean against the stone, eyes drifting shut for a moment. Behind your eyelids, you see the light again, pulsing like breath, steady, patient. You stay there, letting the world blur. Everything is okay. When you open your eyes, the valley has grown dimmer, but not darker. The golden light sexed, 0.05 pooling at the edges of rocks and trees. Shadows stretch, but they are soft shadows, velvet rather than void. You follow the river again, slower now, each step more like a drift. The path leads to a wooden bench under a willow tree. You sit, and the bench creaks in a friendly way, as though it recognizes you. Branches drape overhead, leaves brushed in bronze by the last light. The air here is cooler still, carrying the faint scent of river water and wood. You settle in, leaning back, feeling your body sink. Your arms relax, your hands fold loosely. You watch the river glide by, unhurried, infinite. And you think again of history, how ancient Chinese poets described golden sunsets as the hour when mountains breathe. The phrase lingers, comforting. Mountains breathing, rivers glowing, you exhaling with them. Your eyes blur as the light softens further. The willow sways, the river hums, the world turns inward. You feel your own breath sinking with the rhythm around you. Drift deeper now. The last threads of light fade into twilight, but the glow remains within you. It fills your chest, seeps into your bones, hums in your pulse. You realize golden light is not something you chase, it is something you carry. And carrying it feels like the first true step into sleep.
The willow fades behind you as you rise again, slow and steady, and the path opens toward the final stretch of the golden landscape. The hills soften into gentle slopes, and the horizon glows like the last embers of a fire cradled in a hearth. You walk without effort now, as if the earth itself is carrying you, guiding each step toward rest. The air is still, rich with warmth that lingers even as night presses forward. Above, the first stars scatter timidly, shy glimmers against a sky brushed with rose and violet. Yet down here, golden light still pools across the grass, stubborn in its refusal to leave. It clings to stones, brushes the bark of trees, and flickers across your face like an unspoken blessing. You pause to breathe it in. Each inhale draws the glow deeper into you, weaving it into your rhythm. Each exhale spreads calm, emptying the body of whatever weight remained. You think of how ancient Greeks once believed light itself carried memory, that vision was not just seeing but touching, a connection between your inner self and the world. Historians still argue whether this belief was philosophical poetry or an attempt at early science. Either way, you feel it now. The light has touched you, entered you, become part of you. You keep moving, and the trail guides you to a small cabin nestled in the fold of two hills. Its windows glimmer with golden firelight, perfectly echoing the glow of the sky. You step closer, hearing the faint crackle of wood within, the warm breath of safety. Inside, the cabin is simple: a chair, a table, shelves stacked with books whose titles blur in the soft haze. A candle flickers beside the window, flame mirrored in glass. You touch the chair's back, feel the smooth wood worn by countless hands. You sit, and the creak is friendly, reassuring. A quirky thought surfaces. In the 19th century, inventors experimented with lamps filled with powdered gold, sects claiming they could mimic sunlight indoors. They never quite succeeded. The glow was odd, metallic, unsettling, but the dream was clear. Humans crave this golden comfort, no matter the century. You smile softly, grateful that you found the real version here. Without wires or powders, just light and hush. You are home here. The firelight wavers gently, its rhythm syncing with your breath. You rest your hand against the table, feeling the warmth seep into your palm. The cabin hums with quiet, not empty, but alive with stillness. You lean back, eyelids heavier, chest rising and falling in waves of ease. Outside the window, the last edge of sun slips beneath the hills, but the glow lingers across the sky. It feels eternal, as though the golden light has decided to stay with you, loyal and patient. You realize now that the journey has never been about chasing sunset. It has been about letting light dissolve into you, carrying it forward. The chair holds you, the air softens, the fire hums low. You feel your body unwinding, your thoughts dissolving into blurred edges.
Even words themselves begin to thin, leaving only sensation, warmth, glow, hush. You close your eyes. Behind your lids, golden waves ripple slowly, endlessly. They spread through your body, filling every corner, settling into every bone. The world drifts away, but you do not fall. You float, drift into sleep. Your breath evens, the fire hums. The golden light, eternal and tender, curls around you like a blanket. And now sleep waits, closer than ever, already inside you.
The journey eases now, every step slower, softer, calmer. The golden light that once painted the horizon is no longer something you watch. It is something you carry, deep within. It flows through your breath, hums in your chest, warms the edges of your thoughts. You feel it quieting everything, smoothing the sharp corners of memory, softening every tension you once held. The cabin holds its hush. The fire murmurs. The air feels as though it was woven only for you. Every inhale brings in golden stillness. Every exhale releases the last remnants of weight. The glow has no urgency, no demands. It simply waits with you, patient as sleep itself. You sense how your body is already changing, sinking, surrendering. Muscles slacken, shoulders fall, hands rest heavy against your lap. Your heartbeat slows, steady and calm. Your eyelids press gently downward, heavy as velvet curtains. The world outside fades, not into darkness, but into a warm blur of light that carries you like a tide. You drift further now. Thoughts that once circled grow faint, like distant echoes fading into silence. Worries loosen their grip, slipping like sand through your fingers. What remains is only softness, only calm, only rest. Everything is okay. The golden light surrounds you completely now. It has become your breath, your pulse, your dream. You are floating, weightless, wrapped in its embrace. You no longer walk the path. You are the glow itself, endless and still. Allow yourself to sink fully now. There is nothing more to do, nowhere else to be. Only warmth, only sleep, only peace.